I think you have to be in the Labour Party to really appreciate where we were in December 2019 compared to where we are now. I mean, I thought we were finished. You know, when you see us losing Redcar, Bishop, Auckland, Sedgefield, Grimsby, Scunthorpe, Bolsover, yeah, it really looked as if it might all be over for us. Not because of that election result, but because this cult of the far left had virtually taken over the party at all levels. And it looked as if the only successor to Corbyn would be a Corbynista, and then we'd get more of the same. For Keir Starmer to, first of all, be brave enough to put himself forward for what is a awful job, even more terrible in circumstances the Labour Party was in, and then turn that around. You know, in June, we'll talk about where we are now, but in June, he reached the highest rating for an opposition leader, any opposition leader, since records began, since they started to record that in the early 70s. And now it's not too bad, by the way. There's been a boost for the government with the vaccine, of course.
You think 10 points off is not too bad?
But I feel, 26 points off when Keir Starmer was elected. And, you know, you can sum up where the Tories are now in one word, which is vaccine. So, no, he's had a tremendous first year, more than anyone could expect. And I think I caught a bit of Jack Straw earlier on, as Jack Straw was saying, we've had a long period of leaders who haven't been popular with the public and have been less popular than their Tory counterpart, going right back to Gordon when he was 15 points ahead, then that blew, and we've never been there. So,
but then I guess, Alan, for the criticism would be that for you Blairite lot, it's looking good because the hard left cult, as you've described them, have been pushed back. Jeremy Corbyn is no longer a Labour MP in Parliament. He's an independent. He has to sit as an independent now. But there are huge percentages of the membership, the Labour membership, who are much more left-wing, brought in by Jeremy Corbyn, and who, for instance, 66% of them want the Labour Party to campaign to return into the European Union. What does Starmer have to do to address that? Just ignore him?
No, well, I mean, in a sense, you're right, Tom, in that me endorsing Keir Starmer, same as Jack endorsing him, is kind of old Blairites kind of looking for a repeat of history. When I'm looking at, I can only look at it from my point of view. And the biggest poll, 7,000 people in the opinion poll in December. We've got to remember, we're not even 18 months beyond that general election, by the way, when, a huge boost for Conservatives. That opinion poll in December went into the figures, in the language that you and I will understand, that many listeners want, the C2DE votes, which is the working class, coming across to Labour, and Leave voters coming across to Labour. And so I think in terms of all the big issues, the big calls that Keir Starmer has had to make, he's made them right, not least of all on Europe. Remember, there was a lot of internal disagreement that we should oppose the deal on Europe, and Keir Starmer faced it down, and he was absolutely right to do it, because we can't go through those arguments over again, all over again. And for the 66% of Labour people who want us to go back into Europe, that's the 66% of Labour supporters who voted to remain. So they're not going to change their views, but the politics of this isn't that they're going to vote for another party to get Labour back into Europe.
Okay.